Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we are discussing the Chronograph Commander. Sold in 2018, this is the extraordinary 20-piece limited edition Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore 44 millimeters in full platinum. And I can tell you that an Offshore 44 in full platinum feels like 2 or 3 watches rolled into one. So it is 44 millimeters in diameter by 14.6 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip. The case is 55.6 millimeters, and then if we measure the end link to end link total distance across the wrist, it is a, commanding 59 millimeters. It's a big watch. When you see it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you get the sense that I might need a bigger arm to wear this. I do think you need a wrist of at least 17 centimeters circumference to wear this one well. You can see that the lugs are over the edge of my wrist, which is generally the no-go zone for me. That said, it's not as thick as I expected, and it will slide underneath the jacket cuff. My goodness, is this thing heavy. Taking a look at the strap, AP does a good job of keeping its straps, whether leather or rubber, as integrated into the shape of the lugs as if the Royal Oak or Offshore were on a bracelet. So you could see it tapers when viewed from the top, and it actually thins out when viewed in profile. The strap is held to the case using screws and bars, which is a nice upscale and secure way to fix a strap to a case. That's always what I like to see, and ensures that with no spring bars to worry about, this is going to suddenly separate from the watch. We have a matching PT950 Platinum AP pin buckle. You can see it includes both satin and polished facets for handsome contrast. The watch is remarkably bright and white, and everything that's polished pops against the satin base, which means the flanks of the bezel, the bevels of the lug hoods, and there are a handful of details, such as the steel polished hexagonal screws in the top of the bezel that are also polished for differentiation. Now, if you look carefully, you can see we have more contrasting finish, as the ceramic shoulder to the crown, as well as the caps to the pushers, are satinated when viewed from the top or the bottom. But when viewed outboard, you can see their outer facets have been polished. Not easy to do with scratch-resistant ceramic, but AP sweats the details. Now, since the very first Royal Oak in 1972 and the very first Royal Oak Offshore in 1993, by Gerald Genta and Emmanuel Guet, respectively, finishing has been a big part of what you pay for. So these breaks between polish and satin, the sharpness of the facets, and the originality of the design are all key to the appeal. Now you can see that the shoulder for the crown is hexagonal to match the hexagonal steel bolts in the bezel. The bezel is a rounded octagon, as the original Royal Oak was inspired by a vintage diving helmet with the same shape. Now the watch does have a screw-down crown. It is 100 meters water resistant. It has the large hobnail, I should say the mega-sized hobnail. This is the mega tapisserie dial. It is not the grand, it is not the petite, it is the mega, which means it is stamped and it has large hobnails. It has black sub-registers, and you can see each of those sub-registers actually has a raised center disc with a concentric pattern, and we have little polished chapterings for each of them. Chronograph hours up to 12, chronograph minutes up to 30. There's a rejo outboard that forms a tachymeter that can be used along with the chronograph to gauge the speed of an object, for instance, a race car over a kilometer. Hands, AP logo, and indices are white gold, so they won't tarnish or oxidize over time. We'll do a quick loom shot here, and you can see that the watch is well loomed. It is a sports watch after all, because it features a modular complication. If you look carefully, you can see that the center lines of the chronograph pushers are slightly above the center line of the crown. The module for the chronograph is Dubois de Praz. AP calls it a 3840 module, and the base, which they call 3126, is AP's own. But because the base is under the module, you look deep into the dial, past the chronograph to the base movement to see the date. There is a magnifying lens to help you see the date more easily. The watch has both stop seconds. Let's just make sure we're not in the date change danger zone there. We were. It's a good thing we checked. It has stop seconds, and then it also has a quick set date mechanism. The DD module uses a vertical clutch for engagement. The watch has a number of nuances that are special and unique to the Offshore, such as the enormous fully expressed bezel gasket, which is a hairline element, difficult to see on a standard Royal Oak. It's very easy to see on an Offshore, and it performs part of the styling role of the materials across the board. Here we have crown guards that are fixed by hex screws, so if they ever get gouged, they can be removed and replaced individually. And then you can see one satin, one polished, and one satin facet to the bezel. It's actually triple finished, and then the satination across the top falls like a curtain from top to bottom. Flipping it all over, you can see that caliber 3126 base. Automatic winding. It has, in this application, as close as I can here. It has a 50 to 55 hour power reserve. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it features a full balance bridge with a Gyromax style free-sprung balance, which allows very precise adjustment, but also gives you a great deal of shock resistance. The 54 jewel movement is modular, and it features a bidirectional rotor in blackened gold that sits on ceramic rotor bearings for high efficiency and minimal maintenance requirements. And you can see that the movement is attractively finished with a handsome and price-appropriate combination of hand finish and also a little bit of mechanical finishing techniques like JLC or FP Journe. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of one of the heaviest watches I have ever reviewed.